NASCAR has an opportunity and Trackhouse has an opportunity to build a superstar. And you want to know why you build a superstar with a guy that only has 2 wins in a career? You want to know how? You sell t-shirts, you sell merchandise. That's what you do. Guess what Ross Chastain is good at with all the drama he promotes on the track? Selling t-shirts, selling die casts, selling, memorabilia, promoting Trackhouse. Awesome. If that's what you want to do and that's how you want to make your living by selling t-shirts, not winning races, so be it. Everybody's gonna. What's going on, y'all? I'm Brandon Atlanta Man Bang coming to you live right here at Coach's Corner, the center of the universe. Another installment of Rubbin' and Grubbin'. Rubbin' is racing, grubbin' is tasting, man. I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. It's halfway through that work week, man. Don't have long. Getting ready to hit that weekend, but we got a lot of NASCAR news to cover. What a great race that was there in the land of Oz at Kansas, man. We're going to be recapping it, breaking down some NASCAR news, and getting into the gist of it for sure, man. So if you're new to tuning in, you know how we like to start the show out, and if you're new, you don't. We like to start it out with the word of the day. So basically what's going to happen is Lawrence, producer, is going to throw up a word somewhere up here. Every time I say that word tonight during tonight's episode, you're going to take a sip of your favorite adult beverage. I always like to say it's age appropriate. If you're under the age of 21, want to play along, get some sweet tea, some Kool-Aid, energy drink, man. Stay up late, halfway through that school week, and play along, man. So last week's word of the day was Gragson. So talked about Noah a little bit there. We'll see what happens, how many times I talked about it. And again, tonight's word is going to be, I have no idea, but every time I say it, take a sip of that drink, y'all. So getting into that NASCAR news, hey, Denny Hamlin, man, locked in that first victory of 2023, and it was a pretty exciting one, man. We'll get into a little bit more of that later on, but the driver of the 11 over there at Joe Gibbs got that win, got Toyota's win, man, on the year. So pretty exciting. Second one of the season. Tyler Reddick there at Bristol Dirt, but 1.5 miles, man. Denny really needed that one. He's sitting there saying, "Hey, I'm getting older. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to do this shit." And at the end of the day, hey, man, came home with that victory for sure. So biggest thing coming up, man, throwback weekend at Darlington. This is one of the best weekends in the sport, if you ask me. Paying homage with those paint schemes to the greats that came before you. Throwing it back to some drivers that maybe impacted your career or impacted the way you grew up racing. So got some good ones out there. Again, I mentioned it last week. My favorite one going to be that throwback to Gordon with that chrome luminescent paint. Man, that thing is sweet. You got Chase Elliott is my second favorite. I mean, obviously, throwing it back to his dad, which I think is awesome. And that red, I like to call that Georgia Bulldog red 9 car. Throwing it back to that Dodge scheme when he came back to drive for Evernham. So, gonna be awesome, man. But if you hadn't seen them, I mean, there's so many other good ones out there paying tribute to a lot of greats of the sport. A lot of guys that impacted some of these drivers' careers. So, make sure you get on NASCAR.com and check those out. Those are super sweet, man. So SRX, man, getting ready to kick it off here shortly. I think it starts off in July. A lot of big names locked in on at least 2 races. Going to be awesome season, so make sure you check that out. There again, I think it starts in July, Thursday nights. It's just going to be awesome, man. SRX is a really cool series. It's very unique in its own, and it only continues to get bigger and bigger every season they have, man. So go out, support that, tune in, support it. I know I will be. I'll be dropping updates on that once the season gets started, week in and week out, just to keep you updated on what's going on, who wins, who's looking hot in that as well. A little short bit on that because I really enjoy SRX, man. I tune into a few races a year on it, and it's just really nice to see some of these retired and former NASCAR drivers and current NASCAR drivers and going in and doing their thing on top of all the other drivers they have from all the other fundamental racing. F1, IndyCar, open wheel dirt. I mean, these guys are just covering the bases when they put these fields together. So a lot of superstars, man, a lot of good things. So make sure you check it out. So a third car, man, for 2311 coming back. I mean, who knows? Rumor mill's spinning, man. I mean, we saw Travis Pastrana there at the 500 in that 67 car. Have a pretty good, decent run. I know a lot of guys wrecked, and as always at Daytona and Talladega, but Travis found a way, man, to bring that car home with a pretty good finish. A lot of guys, they've hinted at, talking about it. There's a good interview article out there with one of the guys at 2311 just talking about how don't be surprised if you see this car ran again this season. I think that a big part of that is if Kurt Busch can get cleared from that concussion protocol and get cleared by doctors to come back. The question is where. There's not anything set in stone. I would say if Kurt's the one that's going to get behind the wheel of it, I think it's going to be a lower speed racetrack, maybe a short track. New Hampshire is probably looking pretty good. A couple other, maybe a road course, something where there's not a lot of high speed and G-force there again to get back behind the wheel for 400 miles or maybe in a 500-mile race, but a 400-mile race more than likely. So I like it. I think that there again, running that third car for 2311 is going to pay dividends. The more data you get and collect, the better you are, right? If you're looking at the option of opening up a third car in the future, which to me, I feel like that's where Denny Hamlin's going to retire, right? I mean, I think that when his time's up at Gibbs Racing and that's all said and done and that's over with and he moves on, which I see that probably at the end of this contract he has now, I'd say a couple years in 2311 wouldn't hurt him. There again, a really good experienced race car driver behind the wheel of his own equipment to kind of get the feel of what do we need to do to take that next step. I mean, they already got two really good drivers in Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace for sure. I mean, I think they're both future superstars, if you will, in the sport. And to put Denny behind that wheel, it's just going to kind of propel 2311 and that Toyota team a little bit higher. So more data, more race, more cars, better off you can be for ownership for sure. So if you guys haven't yet, man, please go out, like, share, follow all that social media we got out there. You can find us on the gram, you can find us on Twitter, you can find us on Facebook, but most of all, man, go check out that YouTube channel, subscribe, share it with all your NASCAR buddies, man. It's all about gaining those followers for the good, charity things that we do here, and not only on Checkered Flag for Charity on Rubbin' and Grubbin', but also Coach's Corner, man. Just spreading the word, spreading the love. So if you haven't, make sure you go check all that out and subscribe, man. So, more big news, man. Will Martin Truex Jr., come back next season. I think that contract's up after this year. Not positive, but I'm pretty sure. If not, I think he's got one more in him. I think maybe a one-year contract is a farewell tour if he wants to do that. Had some comments about it in the interview the week coming into this Kansas City race and was just kind of like, hey, look, I'm getting older. I don't know exactly what my future holds for me, but, when I'm done, I'm done. And just kind of talking about that. And then, of course, going back and talking about who would he want to fill in that 19 car for him, right? So, I mean, the 19 car, when you look at it, really good race car, really good race team, and he speaks volumes about having, his brother fill in. That was the name that came up. He would want Ryan Truex to fill in for him. Now, I know Ryan's coming off that first win there in Xfinity Series at Dover. Pretty good race car driver, has been around the block, ups and downs of the career. But I think at Joe Gibbs, there's just some other guys, man, that have potential outside of Ryan Truex that are younger. I mean, when you look at a John Hunter Nemechek, he's already got a full season under his belt in Cup Series over there. Sammy Smith, we know, I feel like he's going to take over that Denny Hamlin ride when he's all said and done. But, I mean, to me, my main guy I'd go to would probably be John Hunter Nemechek. I think that he's shown what he can do in trucks at KBM. I think he's a winner. He's shown there in Xfinity Series at Gibbs this year. He can run up front. He can, put that car in really good places and have really good finishes. So, marketable. Just a lot of things check the box for him. So we'll see how all that plays out and all that hinders on if Martin Truex retires or not. It wouldn't hurt my feelings to see his brother in the ride either. So that's going to wrap it up for that NASCAR news, man. We are going to pause for station identification right here on Coach's Corner Network. Lawrence, it's right here, brother. If you'll take my water real quick, I left it up here on the other table. Thank you, sir. We're going to pause for station identification right here at Coach's Corner Sports Network. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. Cheers, y'all. All right, man. So getting into that Checkered Flag for Charity, like I said, Jamie Shearhouse Monroe, you guys know, a friend of mine, friend of a few other folks, patrons here at Coach's Corner, been raising money for. Hey, if you don't know, whatever car number wins is what we donate in. Hey, the 11 car won. Anything under that Christopher Bell in 20 is always going to be a 20. So another 20 goes into that Checkered Flag for Charity. Brings the total up to $2,031 on the season. Oh, John's got some extra donation right there. Lawrence, you want to grab that? Appreciate you, John. Love you, man. Just one of the super nice guys. I mean, always throwing it in, man. Always doing his thing. If you guys tune in and follow Coaches on Facebook as well, John was up there at the Pegasus Riding Academy for that Derby, party they had up there. I unfortunately had to work. Otherwise, I would have been there. Whew, yeah, he's got some wear and tear on him. He's got a little wear and tear on him, man. But I heard it was an amazing event, probably one of the hottest parties. And I can guarantee you, if they put it on next season, I will be there, man. I'm a huge Derby fan. So, again, the guy just does so much charitable stuff, man. But with that 20 thrown in, that brings it up to $2,051 on the year, man. And that's not bad through 12 races. We still got 27 more 26-point races, 27 more races to go. So, again, thanks to all the patrons, everybody here at Coaches that's donated into the Cooler Full of Joys. As we get into these summer months, college football gets going back. Braves crank it up a little bit further deep. We're going to have some Braves tickets. We're going to have some Dogs tickets. I'm going to have quite a few things, man, to raffle off. So make sure you're coming out to the Sound Garden, catching these shows that John and the staff put on up here. They're awesome, awesome bands. So make sure you're coming out. And like I say, bring some extra cash, get into those Cooler Full of Joys and all the raffles that we're doing, man. So more followers we get, like I say, the more money, hopefully, and eyes that we get on what we're doing up here at Coach's Corner and on Rubbin' and Grubbin'. So I've been telling you guys at 300, I've got a hood, a little mini hood to give away. I brought it tonight. This stuff still has a shrink wrap on it from 05. I mean, you can check it out, man. Dale Jr., the frosted tips and all. 2005 Dale Jr. little mini hood, Budweiser hood. So we're working on it, man. Got to get to 300. I think we're at 281. We might have lost a follower, which is fine by me. I mean, hey, I get it. Sometimes we're not somebody's cup of tea. But I think we're at 281 right now. So we're not that far from 300, man. And we're going to ask Alexa to randomly pick a number. Whatever number she picks, this thing, we're getting the address. It's getting shipped to you for free. You don't have to do anything other than subscribe and show a little bit of support and love, man. So if you haven't, subscribe to that YouTube channel. 500, giving away the Harvick helmet. We might have something in between 300 and 500 to give away as well. You got to stay tuned. You never know what's up our sleeve. But 500 followers, the signed autographed Kevin Harvick helmet goes, man. So we're trying to get awareness, trying to get some more subscribers, man. So if you haven't yet or know some folks that haven't, go out and subscribe, man. And when it comes to that checker flag for charity, like I say, nickels, pennies, dimes, 10, 20s, 150s, whatever it is you got to donate, we'll take it, man, and make sure it goes to the right place. And to be honest, it all stays local, man. And that is one of the most amazing things about the show is all the money raised, whether it's Pegasus Riding Academy, Ronald McDonald House, Help Save One of Our Own, whatever it may be, personal people we help out, whatever it may be, it stays local right here in this area, man. So, again, man, hey, getting into it, getting ready to get into that who's hot and that who's not. And Arbor Man Tree Service sponsors that for me. My buddy Parker Eccles over there. You're going to see that number scrolling all night long. Taking care of all Savannah Tree Service needs. Locally owned, locally operated, insured, man. Arbor Man Tree Service. So make sure you check it out. Like I say, it doesn't matter what it is. Cutting back some limbs, full tree removal, stump grinding, whatever it may be. Give Parker Eccles a call over there if you just need an estimate. Voted the best in Savannah, baby. I mean, the man's doing his thing, you know. And we have an owner of another tree service that's a good buddy of ours, and we all hang out. So finished second, I guess, in that voting there, man. Second best in Savannah. So love him as well. You know, he's an awesome dude. But, hey, like I said, man, you're going to see that number scrolling. Make sure you give Parker a call. And as I always like to say, no job too big, no job too small, man. Give Parker a call. Love you, brother. Thank you, man. And I might be seeing you in Atlanta in July at that race, man. I might have Lindsay talked into it. I'm going to keep working on her, man. I might be there, brother. But getting into that who's hot. Man, it's the same old song and dance up top, y'all. You should already know. If you tuned in last week, same guy's going to stay up top. Kyle the Martian Larson, man. The dude's out of this world, staying on the top of the hot list. I mean, second place finish there at Kansas. Looked like he was going to come home with that win, but just didn't. But look, fast race cars every week. One of the best pit crews on pit road. One of the brightest minds atop the pit box, setting these cars up. I mean, he seems like he runs up front every single week, barring an accident, barring somebody else is doing or a mechanical failure. So at the end of the day, until somebody shows me that they're going to take that King's crown and starts rolling off some wins in a row, Kyle Larson's going to stay on the top, man. The dude is just too fast. He's too good at every single style race that we go to. It's got to happen at some point in time, but right now, Kyle Larson, number one on that hot list, man. Number two, hey, man. William the Kid Byron, I tell you what, I've been talking highly of this kid all season. He started out last season hot as well and kind of faded there. Getting into these months now, kind of started fading. But to be honest with you, he hadn't shown that inconsistency that he showed last year, this year. Man, I tell you what a hard-fought battle there at Kansas. 2 laps down to come back to finish third. Him and Rudy Fugle, man, those boys got that connection. I mean, that is probably outside of Cliff Daniels, Kyle Larson, outside of Denny Hamlin, Chris Gabehart, that is probably one of the top 3 best pit crew combinations as far as the top of the box driver that's in the sport right now. There again, just bringing fast cars, finding a way to rebound when they hit that adversity and that controversy in the sport, running it in that race. These boys found a way to rebound from 2 laps down, which there again, stage racing kind of helps you out. Had some even speeding road penalties. I mean, it's just amazing what they did to come back and finish third. So it just shows you how well Hendrick Motorsports is doing right now as an organization. I mean, my boy Chase led some laps, got to get there, not quite making it there yet, but William the Kid Byron, doing his thing. Fast race cars every week, again, one of the top pit crews in the sport. I mean, these are things that it takes to be good week in and week out, and already got 2 wins on the season, so they're trophy hunting. I mean, guaranteed, these boys are out trophy hunting. So expect William to reel off a couple more before the season's in and stay on that hot list more than likely. Number 3 on the hot list, and I think you got to pay this dude some respect right here, and that's Bubba Wallace, man. I ain't really come up with a nickname for Bubba yet. And I got to start working on that, because it seems like more that we get into this season, especially, the more he's having really good runs. We know he's coming off that win at Kansas last fall. We know Toyota runs good. We know he wanted to repeat, man. Brought it home 4th, man, and that's not bad. You know, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but look, I feel like Bubba Wallace has the potential to be a week in and week out contender over in 2311 equipment. I think there's still some Achilles heel racetracks that he's got to kind of nip in the butt. He's got to figure out a way, instead of running 25th and finishing 25th, to finish 15th at those, 10th, 12th at those. Top 10 would be great, but I feel like he's coming into his own, man. Look, it's not my cup of tea as a driver. He's not somebody I pull for. I think that, you know, you got to have a guy that's mentally tough. You got to have a guy that addresses the sponsorship well, which Bubba is learning. He's growing. He's in really good equipment. So I'm not going to say it's one of my least favorites. I'm not going to say he's one of my favorites, but I'm going to pay respect where respect's due. And he's been running really good this season, man. He's still outside that playoff bubble, which he's, you know, I mean, when you look at that finish early in Atlanta, that really hurt. Got to go and get some stage points, get some stage wins would really be great. A race win would be really great. So right now finds himself outside that bubble, but he's close, man. I think he's within 6 points, 8 points, something like that. Very close within striking distance, and I feel like there's some guys that are inside that bubble right now that Bubba can definitely outrun and go catch. So I think before the season's over, you'll see him locked into that 16 and making maybe a little playoff run. How deep, I don't know. We'll talk about it as we heat up towards that, but Bubba Wallace right now making that hot list, man. So getting ready to get into the who's not, but before we do, we're going to pause again for station identification right here on Coach's Corner Sports Network, man. Again, hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. Cheers, y'all. All right, man. So getting into that who's not, and Chase Briscoe is going to be number 1 on that list, man. Chase Briscoe has been struggling. Chase Crisco Briscoe, as I like to call him, baby, has just been struggling, man. And look, I know, you know, it seemed like he should have kept the broken finger. I mean, let's be honest, should have kept the broken finger, because before he got the finger fixed, man, he was running top 5s, and I know some of those tracks kind of fit his style and kind of went into it, but he was running top 5, man. And now he's just struggling. I mean, the past few weeks have been on the struggle bus for real. They got to get it together. I mean, to be honest, outside Kevin Harvick, Stewart Haas as a whole, I know Eric Almirola had a pretty decent finish this past week at Kansas. But to be honest, just on the struggle bus for real all season. I know they have good equipment. I mean, we all know Ford made those changes coming into this season, right? They added a little more drag for some handling and a little less downforce for speed, or they did something. Changed the body up a little bit. At the end of the day, I don't think it's paid the dividends that they were hoping it would. I think Ford is going to have those tracks they're fast at. The Michigans, when we get there, obviously they're going to be fast. A couple other ones outside of that, they're going to be quick at, right? So I don't think it's a huge deal right now. Logano's got to win. We see Kevin Harvick running pretty solid every single week. But outside of that, man, these guys are really wish-washy. And Chase Briscoe is one of them. You know, coming into this season, you expect him to start having the rookie shakes done, starting to build those consistency week in and week out weekends. Now, everybody's going to have their bad weekends. I get it. Mechanical failures, hit and miss on the setup. I get that. That's going to happen. That's part of the sport. But it's just been happening too often over there in the 14 camp. So hopefully they can rebound strong, get the momentum rolling in the right direction again, get some solid finishes, and hunt for a win. You know, I mean, that's the objective, right? Got big sponsorship over there. We know the sponsorship wants to see him do good. I know Tony wants to see him do good. So there again, just got to kind of build that momentum, headed back in the right direction. And Darlington might be a place for it. We'll see if he can go and get it done Sunday. But right now, on the cold list, man, on the not list. So Austin Cindric. All right, look, I'm going to give him a little leeway here. He's number 2 on the list, but I am going to give him some leeway, right? Got the sophomore slumps, man. You know, second full-time season, running over there at Penske. Ford's been missing a little bit over at Penske outside of Logano. We see Blaney have some good finishes, good runs, but Logano's been that Mr. Consistent, and even him's kind of faltered at times. I mean, he had a run. That's probably one of the worst runs I've seen him in his career outside of spinning out, and he spun late, but, I mean, just all day was garbage there at Dover. So, I don't know really what to say, man. It's just there again. I think I'll give him a little leeway. Young behind the wheel, still trying to figure out the next-gen car. It's a really hard car to drive and figure out how to pass in, right? We all know that. We hear veterans talk about how hard it is to pass, and these are guys that's been in the sport 10-plus years. Really hard to pass, can't really get to a guy. You get so aero-tight, aerodynamic, you know, aero-dependent on the pass and not so much the motor anymore. You know, 2/10 faster than the guy, you get to him and you can't pass him for 4 or 5 laps, or your tires burn up before you get by him. So I think it's something, trying to find the sweet spots, which are obviously restarts, figuring out the car set up for him, what he needs to be good week in and week out. But right now, not having the finishes they need, I think he finds himself inside the playoff standings. I don't know. I hadn't really looked at the playoff picture. I really even hadn't been paying attention to the points so much, which I'm going to start doing here as we get inch closer to that regular season finale. But I feel like now, about another, I don't know, 7, 8 races, about race 20, I'm really going to start looking at it and keeping you up to date on it. I mean, that's really kind of who's set and where the bubble is and who can move out of the bubble with those wins. So, but right now, he's doing the best he can. You know, he's got to come and get some consistent finishes, lock himself in, get some stage points. That's how you make deep playoff runs, are those stage points and those race wins. So, got to get on the hunt, man, in that 2 camp. Got to have a sit down with Roger and go, man, we got to get faster. Figure out what they got to do as an organization to get faster. But I'll give Cindric a little break, like I said, sophomore slump, man. Austin Dillon. Number 3, man. And look, I like Austin, man. He's a fan of the show. Did a cameo for us on Rubbin' and Grubbin'. I got to put him back on there. Top 10 finish. I know, top 10 finish at Kansas, but the consistency still isn't there. And he's below 30th in points, which I know a lot of that is the penalty. You know, he got hit with that penalty. Look, I know a lot of that's that, but you honestly got to say it's a wish-wash season up and down for the 3 camp. We see what Kyle Busch is capable of and going out and being fast every week. I think Austin's got to sit down and figure out a way to become fast as well, right? Like, he's got to figure out a way, again, there, what the handling is and what the balance of the race car is that he needs to compete top 10, top 15. I'm not asking to go out and be top 5 every week, but got to have some speed there. So they got to get it together over there. Pit crew's got to execute. They got to unload fast. And with the next-gen car without practice, that's a key. We got to unload fast. If you don't unload with speed, there's so many changes you can make on that race weekend without practice to kind of boost that car up. You could throw the book at it, it's still not gained much. So, you know, not going to jock on him too hard, but looking at where he's been and what he's been doing, I think he definitely needs to get it together and run a little bit faster, get some faster equipment there, and just kind of have a sit down with his race team and get it together, man. So that's going to wrap it up for that who's hot and who's not. Getting ready to get into that Kansas recap. And, man, what a race it was there in the Land of Oz. I tell you what, Kansas has always been one of my favorite racetracks. I love it, the progressive banking, and you see what kind of show it can put on, man. When it's hot and it's slick and we got some tire wear, man, what a awesome show. The restarts, 3, 4 wide, you know, guys slipping and sliding, handling an issue, tire wear an issue, short-run cars, long-run cars. To me, hands down, best race we've seen all season. Best race we've seen all season. Dover comes in at a close second, but best race we've seen all season at Kansas. Different guys leading, guys coming to the front, a lot of drama going on, man, and not just what we saw after the race, which we'll talk about that some more here coming up, but on the track. Just guys, you know, side drafting, passing back and forth. You know, 2 guys getting side by side, that 3rd car getting a run, blowing by both of them. Those 2 guys coming back, passing him. I mean, this checked all the boxes on what you talk about when you want to talk about a great NASCAR race. This checked all the boxes. It had the drama. It had the late race finish. It had the pit road penalties. It had the tire wear. It had the on-track passing. I mean, These are just things that you look for in a NASCAR race, and it checked the boxes, man. So to me, best race all season long. As again, like I said, Denny Hamlin came home victorious to lock in that first win for the 11 camp over there at JGR. I tell you, he's got a knack for Kansas. It's one of his better racetracks throughout his career before they reconfigured it, and while it's done now at Progressive. The 11 always seems to find a way to run really good there, man. And I think it's one, Denny's driving style, and two, just the setup and communications that they got. Toyota in general ran strong. I mean, when you go back and look at the first stage and a half of that race, man, Toyota was all up front. Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr. You had Tyler Reddick up there battling. Christopher Bell was up there until, he spun out. I mean, just so many good Toyota racers up there competing towards that front. So, I mean, even Ty Gibbs, bro, the rookie, was up there running top 10 majority until he had his troubles. So, when you look at it, man, I think it's an awesome deal. I think this really helps Denny. We know that put him at, 49 or 50 wins? 49 or 50 wins on the career, right. 49, I mean, come on, man. I think he said, 60s where he wants to be, which that puts him kind of in a class there on his own. Top 15 all-time on the win list, of which I know that's a big deal to Denny right there with that win this past week. So I expect him to win a couple more. I mean, coming into Darlington, we all know what he's capable of doing there. He's definitely capable of winning races there. So who knows? Maybe he gets on a tear and rolls a couple off. We'll just have to wait and see, man, what happens on Sunday. But, hey, right now, congrats to Denny, man. I think he's probably going to go down trumping Mark Martin for best race car driver never to win a championship, right? If he doesn't win one. He's already got more wins than he did. Not combined in all three series or anything like that, but in Cup Series, strictly talking Cup, I think if Denny doesn't win a championship, he goes down as the best driver never to win one, honestly, my opinion. So Kyle Larson, man, like I said, him and Denny Hamlin, last good 5, 6, 7, 8 laps there, man. Hamlin tracked him down, tried everything, pulled every rabbit out of that black hat to try to get around him. He had to pull one out, side drafting him hard. I don't think it was intentional, and even if it was, I did not have a problem with it. Last lap, coming down for that win. Larson's already got a couple. You're going to use and abuse the guy any way you can to go get that win. Senior did it, Gordon did it, Rusty did it, Tony Stewart did it. All the greats did it, man. I mean, come on, man. It's part of it. When it matters for the race, win. All right? Even if it's for 5th place on the last lap, I'm down with that. If you're for 10th, I'm down with that. Last lap, I'm down with it, as you can catch on what I'm saying. But, hey, Kyle Larson did everything he could. He said he was fighting a loose race car. I think when Denny got behind him and pulled and started side drafting that, left corner panel on him, maybe got him a little loose. They made some contact. Larson hit the wall. Hey, at least he finished second, man. He found a way to drive that car and spin it back around straight and finish second. So kudos to him. Another good run for that 5 team. Like I said, man, if you go back and you look at things that woulda, coulda, and shoulda, I think we're talking about Kyle Larson winning 4 races already this year, maybe 5. But we're talking 4 for sure. Second place finishes, having going, man, the guy I got loose at the end, he beat me. Come on, man. And it's a possibility. So expect him to win more for sure over there on that 5 team at Hendrick, man. Chevrolet, baby. Them bow ties, I'm telling you, it's a bow tie championship season. And mark my words, it's going to be a Hendrick car. Ross Chastain, man, or Bubba Wallace, before we even get into Ross Chastain, man. William Byron finishing 3rd, came from 2 laps down. You heard me talk about that. Just a great rebound, resilient day for that camp over there in the 24. And I tell you what, I love it. They're hunting that 100th win for that 24 car number. And if you all know, 93 of those came from Jeff Gordon, man. So, hey, look, it's a big deal. I know Jeff's pushing hard for that 24 to get 100 wins. I know Byron's pushing hard for it, and it's coming. It's going to happen this season. Byron is going to get that 100th win for that 24 car. But, man, what a great team-building day. When you talk about what they do over there at Hendrick Motorsports and just the camaraderie they have in between teams, the quality of race car drivers they have behind the wheel, and just the quality of people they have atop the box, in the workshops, and on pit road, you're talking the best that is, the best that there was, and the best that ever will be. Hendrick Motorsports is top notch. I mean, that's it. I think they go down as the greatest organization in history, hands down. So 24 doesn't surprise me, but man, inside that 24 team, what a way to build momentum and build camaraderie between the guys to go forward. I mean, those guys are going to be hard to beat. If they make a deep playoff run, the 24 team is going to be hard to beat. Mark my words. Bubba Wallace, man, hey, coming home 4th place, like I said, looked like he was going to be a top 3. Got out front, led a couple laps there. I was hoping he was going to be top 3. I needed him to be top 3, man, for that money line. If you follow us on social media, we drop it in. You'll hear about that in just a little bit. But damn, I needed one more spot for him, man. Missed it by this much, but hey, come home 4th. What again? A great way. I mean, Kansas is definitely looking like it's one of Bubba's best racetracks outside Talladega and Daytona. I mean, that's looking like that's probably his honey hole when it comes to mile and a half. We race there again later on in the season. I think Bubba's going to show strength again. I think they'll take this and build on it moving forward. So hopefully, like I said, some of those Achilles heels that he has, those racetracks he goes to and he just hadn't figured out how to run good, I think this is going to help propel them and help them have better runs at those racetracks. So good run out there for Bubba. Good call out for him there, man. Ross Chastain, I think, done pissed every damn body off in the garage area and everybody off on Sunday anyway. Kyle Busch, I mean, Noah Gragson, I mean, the week before, you know, I mean, there was other guys, Christopher Bell. I mean, there were 3 guys right there in one race that they felt like, what is this guy doing, man? He's just like, you know, he's driving aggressive, killing folks out here, man. So I tell you what, Kyle Busch said it best. He said, this is his one warning. That's the one warning. Shots fired. And when Kyle Busch tells you one warning, man, that means one warning. Kyle Busch will fence you. He will wreck you, and he will fight you. I mean, that's just all there is. So, look, with all that being said and done, Ross found a way to finish 5th. Kind of lost the handling on that race car there for a little bit. Came back strong. I don't think he had the best long-run car. But, look, man, the guy's good. I'm not going to take away from any Ross Chastain fan that if that's your cup of tea, so be it. It's just not my cup of tea. I think there's etiquette and I think there's rules to racing. And I get it. Next-gen car, got to be aggressive. They're harder to pass. They're harder to drive. You got to take the spots when you can. But I think there's good ways of going about it, right? Everybody wants to compare to a Joey Logano. I'm not going to compare to Joey Logano. He's a lot older than Joey. We're going to get into that a little bit later on. But at the end of the day, hey, man, and what I mean older by is when they started their racing career on the top levels, okay? But look, at the end of the day, top 5 finish, leading the points regular season and playoffs. I tell you what, Trackhouse and Ross Chastain have found ways to do what they need to do to run competitive every week, week in and week out. And I'm not going to take that away from them. I'm not going to speak bad about them. Like I said, a really good 5th place finish, top 5 again. They've got it together at Trackhouse, man. So good run there for the Watermelon Man. Just, you know, hit everybody and pissed everybody off on the way to do it. So that'll wrap it up for the Kansas preview. We're going to pause one last time for station identification on Coach's Corner Sports Network. I got to get some water, y'all. I'm in the shade today, which is nice. I'm out of the sun. But here, I'm going to give it about another 3 weeks, and we're going to be doing this in the sun, full on. And, boy, I tell you, just from talking, you would have never thought you sweat so much. So, cheers, y'all. Thanks to everybody tuning in to Coach's Corner Sports Network. Hope y'all are enjoying the show, man. Darlington preview. The Lady in Black is back, baby. The track, too tough to tame. One of the best racetracks on the NASCAR circuit. Not only the history, but just the show that it puts on. It's fast, it's hard to drive, it's abrasive, and I can tell you the weather down there in Darlington this weekend is going to be hot. That track's going to be slicker now shit. It is going to be time to see who can handle, who can manage, and who can run the best at Darlington, man. Last year, spring race kind of got spoiled, or going into summer race, I guess, kind of got spoiled by an overcast day, right? It was kind of overcast there. So this one I expect full sun. The cream's gonna rise to the top, man. It is going to be an awesome race. So I love it. It, like I said, historic, unique in its own shape, elevation change. Corners are shaped different. You can be good in 1 and 2, but to be good in 3 and 4 is really hard as well, or vice versa. So I really love it, man. Joey Logano, if y'all know, had a little drama there after that one too. Joey Logano wrecked, William Byron to get that win. Gave him a little bump and dump, as I like to call it, because there ain't no bump and run no more. It's the bump and dump, all right? He bumped him and dumped him and got the victory. And that's okay. That's part of racing there again. So we'll see what happens this year. We'll see if we got a new winner. I think race cover starts around 1:30 trackside, pre-race 1:30. Race is right around 3, so green flag probably be about 3:17, 3:18. So make sure you guys tune in and check that out. It's going to be one hell of a race, man, for sure. So Getting into that top 5, man, and I tell you what, this is where I go back and forth about. This is a hard one to pick, right? Kansas last week was another hard one to pick. I'm going to go Kyle the Martian Larson, number 1. Needs to get that victory at Darlington. The man has come so close so many times. It fits his driving style. We know that right up against the wall, it's coming into play at some point in time. Loose, slick. He got a tire manage a little bit. He's one of the best to do it. Around that top, I think you're going to see Kyle Larson late in this race bring that top in and run away with it, man. I really hope so. I know he's bidding for it. I mean, the Southern 500, you know, that one's going to be a little bit more meaningful. This is a 400-mile race now, a little bit better. But at the end of the day, it's still meaningful, right? I mean, we got Mother's Day, man. It's a Mother's Day race. I think that anytime you see Kyle Larson competitive and coming into one of his better racetracks, you're going to see him run good again, man. So I'll take Kyle the Martian Larson 1. 2 for me, Kansas winner Denny Hamlin. This guy here has absolutely killed it at Darlington. We know he's got a couple of those crown jewels from that Southern 500 in his hat. So I expect the 11 team to come back with that momentum and run strong again. So I'll take him number 2. 3 for me, the guy I thought was going to win it last season, William the Kid Byron. I mean, there again, 24 camp coming in strong week in and week out, going to a race where they had really good success there last season. I think there again, when you talk about a guy that has the potential to run good week in and week out, you got to mention Williams' name and that 24 camp. And what a better place to get that 24 its 100th win than at Darlington. I mean, just adding to that track's legacy and history for sure. 4 for me. Man, I tell you, this is a hard pick, man. There's a couple guys there. I looked at Martin Truex, another guy that runs good. I looked at, you know, a guy like Kevin Harvick that runs really good there. But I'm going to go Kyle Busch. I'm going to go Kyle Busch at Darlington. Hasn't always been his best racetrack, but when you go back and you look at those track finishes from last spring, I mean, 4th place finish, right? Got to be good. I mean, he's going to run good. I think that in the Chevy is going to help him out. The alliance with, you know, Richard Childress and being able to share some of that data is definitely going to help him out. So, again, I look at Kyle Busch number 4. 5 for me, I got to put him on there this week. I got to kind of make him into it. Chase the Bulldog Elliott, my main man. My favorite driver. I think he's going to have a good run. I think he might go out and win this race. He's been good there before. He's been fast there. I think that, you know, he's kind of building that momentum up. We saw him lead some laps this past week coming from nowhere. Darlington, I think, kind of fits more of the forte. Kind of a longer run, work on the race car a little bit, track changes slightly in the spring, not as much as it does in the, you know, the summer, into summer Labor Day race. But I tell you what, Chase Elliott is coming in 5th on that hot list, man. Go get him, dog. We need you, man. So, dark horses shouldn't come as any surprise. These aren't going to be too dark. 43 of Eric Jones, Southern 500 winner from last season. I expect him to bring back good equipment. Just kind of fits Eric's driving style. He figures out a way to run that top and really be good, so I'll take Eric Jones. 45 of Tyler Reddick. Again, that top line's coming into play. Gonna run it. I mean, you could put Harvick on it, but I don't think that's much of a dark horse. He's won there. He knows what he's doing. He runs a little bit of that different line in that bottom, which I think is great about Darlington. You can do both. And look, 6 of Brad Keselowski. I think when you talk about 1.5 miles, something around the top, Homestead, this, that, Keselowski's got to come into question and come into play there. So I'll take the 6. Not such a great run at Kansas. Had it looking good there. But look, man, I think he's going to find a way to get the job done and could be a winner there at Darlington. So like I said, make sure you tune in Sunday. Catch that out, man. So getting into that next segment, the money line, man. Money line presented by Redfin Polarized Sunglasses. The best polarized sunglasses on the planet. Italian frames, Carl Zeiss lenses. Hey, whether you got money on the line or a wall hanger, make sure you see it clearly with the best polarized sunglasses on the planet. I tell you what, I think I'm going to buy Ross Chastain a pair of these so he can rock them out, man, because evidently he can't see the run. He can't see the car. I mean, thank God he's been able to see the pace car so far. But the best thing that he hadn't been able to see, if you ask me, is Victory Lane, which I love that. So, but look, man, Redfin polarized sunglasses, made for the woods, made for the water. I tell you all the time, you got these dances, you got a little fancy date, man, make sure you go get you a pair of sunglasses, man, from Redfin, man. Check out their website. I'm telling you, awesome style selection they have there. They've got a lot of different polarized lenses that are going to fit your needs, whether you live in murky water, clear water, you know, whatever it is, salt water, fresh water, whatever it may be. They got a lens and a style to fit your needs, man. Best part is when you go to check out on the website, use code Rubbin'n'Grubbin15, man, save you 15%. But a big thanks and shout out to everybody over there at Redfin Polarized, man. Everybody is great. The best customer service I have ever dealt with outside of a big company. Awesome folks, man. Go check them out. Redfin Polarized, baby. So we got another win, man. It wasn't the winner chicken dinner. It wasn't a decent, huge hit. But you know, hey, winning something is better than winning nothing. I can promise you that. So gained us a little bit of love there. We had Hamlin, if you guys know. Lawrence posts that every Sunday on social media. We took Bubba Wallace top 3. Had another guy top 3. I had Ty Gibbs top 3. We locked Ty Gibbs in top 3, and that would have been a big money payout for a top 3 finish, man. I think he was paying, what, three something, Lawrence, 325, 375 for that top 3. And man, was he on the hunt, 5th to 7th all day long until the mishap happened and he kind of spun out, and that kind of ended his day. But damn, I thought we were on it there with that Toyota, man. And Bubba, 1 spot short. That would have hit us another 100 units there. But hey, not too bad, man. We bumped up. We had Denny for plus 550 units. That bumped us up to 1775 units on the year. We're still doing good, man. We're not looking ugly. We're not losing the money the way we were there for about 5-6 weeks. So I'll take it. Me and Lauren's going to play a little bit of a different strategy at some of these races because the clear-cut favorites are coming to the top, and they're running good week in and week out. So we got to start getting on that train. So that's the plan. That's what we're going to work on. We're going to change the strategy up a little bit. But heading into this week, I tell you what, you got a couple co-favorites. Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson are going to be your co-favorites. Opening odds were at plus 550 when I looked at them. So both of those guys, one of them is going to be a for sure locked-in bet. A little bit deeper in the field, man, when you look at, not too far back, man, you got, let's see, you got William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., you got, who else is right there? Oh, Kyle Busch. Man, all those guys are looking good, 700 to 800. I mean, that's a good range to have that much talent behind the wheel at. I mean, that's a pretty good bet there. A little bit further back, man, I tell you what, I think Byron comes in at 8 or 9. But man, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, those guys have got great odds, which definitely going to be looking at. Chase Elliott, they're all plus 1,200, if not better than that. So we're definitely going to be looking at them. I'll tell you this, the Southern 500 winner from last year, and Eric Jones, has some amazing opening odds. And I just look at DraftKings. I don't go on, Vegas, booking side, big casino side, anything like that. I just look at DraftKings. DraftKings had him at plus 6,500 to win. So we're going to see where that line drops or stays at, but if it's at 6,500, that's worth 20 to 50 unit bet for me for sure. Top 3 definitely going to be locked in on that. The value's got to be great there. So that'll be about as far back as we go. There's some other guys out there that might have some success. The Tyler Reddicks and different guys in there, but make sure you tune in, follow us on social media, check it out every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. We'll have 3 of them thrown up because we do Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. So make sure you follow us on that social media, see who we're locking in. You can play along with us and take our bets. Or there again, send me your own, man. I'd love to see who you guys are betting on if I miss something odd-wise or I'm sleeping on somebody. So make sure you take a look at that as well, y'all. So that'll wrap it up for the money line, and man, we're getting into, this is going to be my favorite part of the segment tonight, I can tell you that. We're getting into the hard right turn, man. But before we do, I got to give a big shout out to the sponsorship for the hard right turn, Lamar's Body Shop. 35 plus years of taking care of the Savannah area's auto collision needs. The best automotive collision center in Savannah, man. 2301 Skidaway Road, right up the street from Coach's Corner. I tell you, man, serving that area again for 35 years. Doesn't matter what it is. Paint needs, auto collision repair, need a new bumper, new fender. Man, if you need an insurance quote for that insurance company, make sure you take it up there to Lamar, man. But like I said, 2301 Skidaway Road, a hop, skip, and a jump away from Coach's. Come get you a hamburger, get some chicken tenders, some chicken wings, watch a little bit of sports, man, while you're getting that estimate done. Catch a ride back up to Lamar. It's kind of like a win-win, right? It's a win-win, man. So, but Lamar, thank you, brother. As I always say, why settle for par? Go see Lamar. Love you, brother. See you soon, man. So getting into the hard right turn, and man, y'all should know, we hadn't even talked about it. I skipped right over that Kansas recap, and we hadn't even talked about it. I got to get some water for this one because we're getting ready to get into it pretty good. I got a high school sports school banquet back here, so I can't really say the words that I got written down or that are going to come to my mind about some of the segments of this, man. Love to hate them, baby. You love to hate them. It's Ross Chastain, right? Picture me rolling like Tupac, love to hate them, right? Like Earnhardt, love to hate them. Now, I'm going to put it like this, man. He is NASCAR's new loved villain, all right? And look, this kind of comes from personalities, right? I think he definitely trumped Kyle Busch as the new villain. I think Kyle Busch has fallen into that, kind of older cat that's kind of come into his own, and you got to respect what he says because he's earned it. And whether you like him or not, you're going to respect it, right? I give Kyle Busch that. I'll say Ross Chastain has taken over KFB's most hated spot in the sport, right? Huge fan base for Kyle, which I get. Huge fan base as it continues to grow for Ross Chastain, which I don't have a problem with, right? But I will say this. After Kansas, the Watermelon Man and knowing the problem child Gragson got into that scuffle on pit road. You guys saw all that, man. Noah attempted to go up and talk about his displeasure and grabbed a hold of the man's fire suit. Ross said, hey, man, don't do it, don't do it. Swung first, right? Look, he got licked. But let's not act like Ross Chastain, cleaned his clock and laid him out because Noah was still ready to throw him. It didn't even knock him, didn't even buckle a knee, didn't even, fold back. Now, with that being said, if Noah Gragson is going to go and fight people, especially in the Cup Series, grown men, and you go in there with the intent to fight, you got to swing first, man. Why even walk up to them? Why even grab a hold of them, right? I get it. They got a history. They train together, right? They do all these different things together. But at the end of the day, if you're going to do that, you got to swing first. Now, that's number one. Now, I got some things I want to say about this situation. Number one, like I said, if Noah had planned on fighting him, he should have walked up and just hit him, no words said, and just started fighting right then and there. Apologize and talk about it later on when things have cooled off. But if you planned on fighting the man, you better swing first, man. At least that's what I've always known to do. I'm gonna talk from a distance, but if you get in my personal area, I'm swinging first. I'm not letting you get the first one in. You might get the better one in, you might whoop me, but I'm gonna get that first one in. So with that being said, that was number one. Number two that I've got to say, if NASCAR security was going to break that fight up, and I went back and forth about some people talking about this was Noah security and this and that. No, it was not. This was NASCAR security. They came from behind Ross Chastain's side. There was two guys there, a guy in the white shirt, a guy in the brown shirt, okay? Tan shirt, whatever you want to call it. If NASCAR security is going to get into the middle of it and not like these guys throw it down like they do in hockey till one of them's knocked down, then jump in or whatever, they should have stopped it before it even got physical. That's the biggest thing I have to say. NASCAR security and NASCAR kind of let that down, right? I don't think it's fair for one guy to put his hands on another by grabbing them, and then after the first punch is thrown, you want to slide in there and break it up. That's kind of like, okay, well, it was okay for him to hit him, but not him, right? Should have at least get a couple good ones thrown in before you broke it up, right? So I'll give him that. Number three, NASCAR not giving no penalties. I respect that. I will give them that kudos. I think there shouldn't be any penalties issued for that physicality on pit road. I feel like if you take it on yourself, and you guys scrap it out and you fight, then that's part of what happens, right? That's just part of it. Now, I will say this. I've gotten to the conversation as well as, okay, well, what happens if two drivers get out of the car and fight and one of them gets knocked out and ends up with a concussion, and then they can't fill their obligation of their sponsorship and their team ownership to fill in? They're out, right? They're out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it may be. Is NASCAR held reliable for that? And I'm going to say no. I'm going to say NASCAR's not held reliable for that one bit. If two grown men get out of the car and they want to fight about it, that's your own fault. If you're going to worry about your sponsorship and what you do for your sponsors, then you shouldn't be getting physical at all, right? At the end of the day, displeasure or not. Do it on Monday. Go to the shop. Go fight them on Monday at the shop, right? I mean, hey, you guys all go back to North Carolina. Most of the shops are there. You go to the trailer after the race is over, after all the media's there. Go fight them then. But at the end of the day, no, NASCAR shouldn't be held responsible for that at all. You're grown men. You get out. You do your thing. That's part of it. Now, Noah has some comments about some guys telling him, he needs to go do it. And Chase Elliott was the name he brought up. And Chase the Bulldog Elliott, I love the comments, man. Hey, somebody had to do it. We've all seen that clip, stirring that pot a little bit. I like it. Now, they've had their little bit of history, last year at Phoenix. I'm not going to put that on Ross. I put that more on just a racing deal, ran out of real estate, kind of thing. But at the end of the day, Noah did what he had to do, man. I think that it's pretty damn funny for people to talk it, but Noah was the one that tried to walk it, right? So I give Noah that respect, man. Now, I am going to say this. If NASCAR penalizes Noah Gragson for something that they can prove that was not, like if Noah Gragson goes out this week right here at Darlington and walls Ross Chastain, if they get side by side and Noah hits him and walls him and ends Ross Chastain's day, if NASCAR penalizes him a race suspension or a fine or a point fine, I'm going to call some BS on that. Now, if he clearly comes out and says, yeah, I did it on purpose like Denny did, okay. If he clearly, you know, shows his displeasure in a way that NASCAR can deem that was intentional, okay. But if Noah Gragson comes on the radio after hitting Ross Chastain and goes, man, car got loose on me, got out from underneath me, man, I hate that for him, I'm going to be upset. Because Noah's already said he likes Trackhouse. He loved, you know, Pitbull and you know, Justin Marks. He isn't trying to tear up their equipment. That's why he didn't wreck them. So that's why he went and talked to him on pit road and got physical. So with that being said, if NASCAR penalizes them and suspends them, I'm going to say that's some BS as well. Now I'm going to say this. Ross Chastain is good for getting NASCAR as a sport out into the limelight and being on the news. A lot of people talking about it. I mean, this is a huge, huge blow up on Twitter, social media. And if that's what it takes, then I tell you what, we're in a sad place in our sport today. Again, I'm not going to down any Ross Chastain fans. If that's your cup of tea, that's all good. It's just not mine. I like drivers that drive with respect. They got some old school etiquette, old school ways about them. They go out, they talk about it, they handle the business. We've heard Tony Stewart talk about it, how weak everybody is in the sport now because everybody gets in a fight behind that little phone. They don't go out when the race is over, go to the guy's holler, sit in the lobby in their holler and have a chat. They don't go out of the car and go have chats any longer. They wait and do it on Monday behind a phone, behind a desk, behind whatever. So I love Smoke's comments on that. I'm sorry only goes so far to me. Ross Chastain has said I'm too sorry too many times to too many guys. It's time to start retaliating, man. It's time to, you know, you mess with the bull, you get the horns type thing. If he wants to do it and he wants to fight, cool. Anybody else want to go fight? Cool, I'm down with that. You want to wreck him on the racetrack? Cool with that. The last thing I ever want to hear is a Ross Chastain fan goes, oh, well, that was dirty. That was just wrong. You've lost that card. You can't play that card. Dale Jr. said it this week on his show. He goes, NASCAR has an opportunity and Trackhouse has an opportunity to build a superstar. And you want to know why you build a superstar with a guy that only has 2 wins in a career? You want to know how? You sell T-shirts. You sell merchandise. That's what you do. Guess what Ross Chastain is good at with all the drama he promotes on the track? Selling T-shirts, selling die-casts, selling, you know, memorabilia, promoting Trackhouse. Awesome. If that's what you want to do and that's how you want to make your living by selling T-shirts, not winning races, so be it. Everybody's going to give me a hard time and go, oh, it's 3rd full-time in Cup. The man raced in and out of Cup for 7 years. Whether it was the bottom of the bottom barrel equipment, he still got seat time. I don't care. 156 races. You race against a lot of these guys in Xfinity. You race against a lot of these guys in truck. You should have some respect for him. If you come from the bottom and you worked as hard as you did, just like Alex Bowman did, there's the two I'm going to compare, just like Alex Bowman did. Got into some of the top-notch equipment in the sport. You don't see Alex Bowman going out here side drafting everybody aggressively, getting into them, bumping them, hitting them, you know, pushing them off the lap cars off in the turns. You don't see Alex Bowman doing that, do you? Alex Bowman got more wins in a career than Ross Chastain does, doesn't he? So who wants to argue with that? Prove me and tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong about it. It's all about what you do and how you want to be perceived and the respect you got, okay? Alex Bowman might not have the respect either. I mean, Denny Hamlin obviously was pissed that he wrecked him for the win at Martinsville. But he did it later in the race, not 60 laps in, not in stage 2. He did it right at the end of the race to get that win. I can respect that. I can respect the times Ross did. I can respect Ross at, what is it, Circuit City of America, Lawrence, right? Circuit City of America. When A.J. Allmendinger and you know, Alex Bowman and him had that great battle, pushing people off in the turns. I'm going to respect that. You're never going to hear me talk bad about that one. That one's cool. You know what I mean? But I can tell you the ones he's done to Denny, the way he raced Martin Truex last year at Dover, on and off, the way he's doored guys, the way he does this, that's not my cup of tea, man. And, you know, watermelon heads is who they are. That's what I call them. You know, you're watermelon heads. You're a Ross Chastain fan. The watermelon man, you're a watermelon, fan. Now, I'm going to say, if you guys want to keep, you know, putting on that watermelon lip gloss and that watermelon lipstick and rocking that out, if that's the fan base you want to be, so be it, man. Buy everything watermelon for them. You know, I had to tone it down because I got high school kids out here. I had other comments I was going to say about that watermelon lipstick. But anyways, man, that's enough on Ross Chastain. Like I said, the last thing I'm going to say is ask yourself this, man. Again, I just compared him to Alex Bowman. Very similar past to being in some of the best equipment in the sport. And I consider Trackhouse some of the best equipment in the sport. But I want you to ask yourself this. 8 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, if Ross Chastain was driving some of the best equipment in the sport. We'll go a lower A team, higher B team, if you will, okay? If he was driving that equipment, would he have 2 wins? Would he have all these top 5s? I don't think so. I don't think he would. And the reason why is because, 1, you had to set the car up different. 1, 2, the teams are building their own parts, their own suspensions, their own engines, their own chassis, their own car setups, right? Would Trackhouse be as good? And I hate to say it because I like Justin Marks and Pitbull as ownership. I think that they stand behind their guys. I think they're great owners. They put the money into the sport they need to be successful. Would they be as successful in previous generation race cars? No, man. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? And I can tell you, name me one team outside of one, and I'm going to give you the one that I feel like had success coming in. That was Dodge and Ray Evernham, okay? Dodge threw all the money in the world to Ray, and he got Bill Elliott to drive it, and it's Ray Evernham. All right, look at the man's history through the sport. He worked for so many lower budget teams and so many high dollar teams. He knew what he was doing, especially on that generation race car. Name me one other team that came into the Cup Series and was successful like that first couple years. Can't. None, man. I'm going to tell you right now, Trackhouse got lucky they came into the type of racing that they came into. They bought Ganassi. The next year was that next-gen car. Hey, man, awesome. Awesome deal. It's spec cars. NASCAR makes all the parts. You get your engine from a Chevrolet or whoever, Chevrolet sends you your motors. You get your parts from NASCAR. You plug them into the car. You put them together. You do your data and your homework. You hire your engineers, and off we go. This sport is as equal as it's ever been. That's why it's so hard to pass. That's why everybody has to be so aggressive, right, as Ross Chastain fans say. So I'm going to leave it alone at that, but all I'm going to say is, man, don't jock somebody like Alex Bowman if you're going to support Ross Chastain, because you can do the same thing from 2 different cups of tea and go about it 2 totally different ways and win more races than Ross Chastain has. I'm just saying. That's the end of the day. In my eyes, Ross Chastain isn't going to win that many races this year, and he's probably never going to win a championship. I give him another, let's see, probably a 3-year contract at Trackhouse. I give him maybe 1 to 2 more 3-year contracts. I'm going to say, probably another 3-year, then a 2-year. And after that, I bet you see Ross Chastain gone out the door at Trackhouse. You heard it here first. We'll keep track 7 years down the road. We'll see what happens. But I'm telling you right now, within the next 5 to 7 years, I think you see Ross Chastain out the door. That's just me. So that's going to do it for the rubbing, the rubbing part. We're on to the grubbing, and I tell you what, I got a special little treat. This is one of my favorite things to rock out here on the menu. This thing is going to be amazing. I can't wait to tear this thing up. We got the Buffalo Chicken Sammy, man. So got that full-size chicken breast. I got Texas Pete and butter on this one because I'm sure my wife's going to want it. Little lettuce, little tomato. She didn't go cheese on it. Got those hot tots. Dude, I'm telling you right now, the food at Coach's Corner is absolutely amazing. If you haven't tried anything on this menu yet, you're dead, you're retired and living in a different state, or you're under a rock, man. This is some of the best stuff I have. The kitchen is awesome. The staff is awesome. They will do things. Hey, if you want to spice it up and do things your own way, they'll do it for you. If it's in feasible means, man, they will make that happen. You want this in a wrap? Cool. You want to do this different sauce with some cheese and some crazy French fries on it? They'll probably do that for you. You want chili on it? They'll do it, man. So options are endless. Not one bad thing on this menu. I tell you, the food is absolutely amazing at Coach's, as well as the staff, the drinks, the cooks, the management, everybody, man. So make sure you come out, support that local restaurant right here at Coach's Corner, Thunderbolt, Georgia, center of the universe, y'all. Not much Coach's news to go on other than Coach Carl DeMassi's actually in the house doing his award ceremony for Island High School, man. So Coach is back there. But make sure you tune in every single Saturday for the Carl DeMassi Sports Report live right here at Coach's Corner in the Sound Garden. He's moving around a little bit better. You know, he had knee surgery and had it again, had some complications. So he's getting there, man. He's getting there. So like I said, make sure you show that support and love. And I do want to mention this real quick. Coach Carl DeMassi has a GoFundMe page set up for Stacy Bragg, who has taught at a couple different schools, but was at Islands High, succumbed to cancer. So if you can, go out and donate, man. There's a GoFundMe page set up. If you know Coach DeMassi personally, reach out. If you got children that goes to Island High, Coastal Middle, or you got them over there at Marsh Point Elementary, whatever it may be, man. Make sure you just show support. Stop by Islands, give a donation, man. This is what it's all about. It's about supporting those teachers, supporting your local just people, man. Coming from a person whose mother was an educator here for 38 years, if it was my mom, I would want somebody to do. People don't understand, one, how underpaid and underappreciated teachers are, how underrespected teachers are, and two, these teachers, these educators have your kids honestly more than you do. While you're at work, while you're doing whatever, they're teaching them. Not only are they teaching the fundamentals of an education, they're teaching how to become successful people, whether they're young in their youth or as adults. So show support, show some love for Miss Stacy Bragg. Tune in to Coach's Show. Last night, man, Who's on First Base made the comeback. I tuned in for a little while, shot some comments out there, which is an amazing show. Again, you got Coach Carl DeMasi and Kyle Lawson, the baseball guru, going back, bringing you everything up to date on MLB and what's going on in Major League Baseball. And I tell you what, man, they had an awesome show on last night. I really enjoyed sitting back and watching some of it. I kind of had to tune in and tune out and cut it back on and catch some spots. But at the end of the day, man, just awesome deal. And I'm glad it's back because, man, baseball is such a huge part of it. And Coach and Kyle do an awesome show. So make sure you tune that in. That'll be Wednesday nights, usually right around 7-ish. And I think it's a podcast. They turn it into a podcast as well. So you can definitely stream that anywhere you stream your podcast, I'm pretty sure. You got to double check with Coach. I'll get you updated on that next week. Hey, again, man, the Sean and Brent Hurd brothers, I tell you what, those boys are awesome. 19th hole, one time a year type deal. It's over, but if you haven't, check it out on YouTube. Them days are wild. 4 full days of recapping the Masters and a lot of drinking. Them boys do a lot of drinking and a lot of damn funny stuff. Brothers, so you can imagine how they get into it. So if you haven't, check that out as well, man. So that's going to wrap it up for Rubbing and Grubbing, man. Before we get into it, you guys know I like to preach a little bit on the outro. And this is something that I just want to kind of touch bases with us, man. And it's like it's like promoting cigarettes, right? And you'll understand when I'm saying this. Like, you'll understand. So it's kids and just being pulled in so many different directions, man. We know that social media is like the biggest platform for kids nowadays, right? And it's not that cool. It's not that cool, athlete you see anymore with a wad of Red Man in his mouth. It's not that, super cool movie star you see smoking cigarettes. It's not this guy drinking this beer or doing this or doing that. It's just so many different propagandas, politically, physically, emotionally, just so many different directions we're pulling our kids through advertisement and through just, political propaganda, social propaganda. I mean, look. Anybody in this world will tell you I have nothing against anybody. It doesn't matter what race, ethnicity, skin color, sexual preference. If you want to be a girl identifying as a boy identifying, it doesn't matter. I have friends of every walk of life. You can ask my wife. Even my friends that are that way will tell you. I treat everybody with the same respect, okay? The one thing is I don't push it on to me, right? And we can agree to disagree on certain outlooks and certain things, but just don't push it on me. And I feel like we're pushing this on children, right? We really are. Like, it goes from taking away books at school because of the language, but yet, the music they listen to and the things they see on TV and what we're living in this world is 10 times worse than that. So look, I say just protect your children. Everybody has the right to raise their children in the way they want to, have their kids believe the things that they want to believe. And when they become adults, they're able to make those decisions for themselves. But I think we're only becoming younger and younger. The kids are only being exposed to more and more things that are confusing, right? So at the end of the day, I think those support is there. But then we wonder why we had the mental health issues that we have with our youth. And I think social media is a big part. And I just think all the different direction kids are being pulled it is. So love your kids, support your kids in anything they do. I always say that doesn't matter who they become or what they want to become, support them. I mean, that's the biggest thing you can do as a parent is give your kid as much support as possible and push them on to be the best person they can be. So that's going to wrap it up. That's my rant. Hey, I hope everybody had a great Wednesday, man. As I always say, hug your loved ones out there, give them a kiss. Tomorrow's not given. And, hope you guys enjoyed the show. And as always, man, till next Wednesday, stay safe. Wash your hands, y'all. Boom. That was perfect timing. That came in great. That loud cheer was like, yeah, man. He was going off. I'm like, yeah. You'll be like, man, this dude had it going on this week.